everyone, Brian here with DIY Outdoor Life. Today we're going to be talking about this connection where our tow vehicle and our trailer couple together. There's a lot of opinions out there. What type of lube we should use or whether we should even lubricate this connection at all. Now, I don't claim to be an expert here, but I've tried a lot of different things and I have a lot of experience towing. So I'm going to show you what system I use, which works really, really well for me. So this connection, where we couple together, undergoes a lot of movement. There's metal on metal there, so there's the possibility of friction and wear. Things can get noisy, but there's a lot of different philosophies here. First of all, this is hardened metal, so it can take a lot of force here without wearing out. So some folks choose to not lubricate at all. I have a ball here that I use with my landscaping trailer. Now, I don't put any lubricant on that. I use the trailer about a dozen times a year, short trips for my lawnmower or my ATV, and it's gonna work just fine. It is true that a couple of cans of lube are gonna cost more than just replacing this ball 15 or 20 years down the road. Now, with my camper, I do this completely differently. Now, on this setup that I use with my camper, I'm putting thousands of miles a year on. I'm pulling into campgrounds at night. I do care if it's squawking and making a bunch of noise. I also couple and decouple it a lot. And when it's lubricated, it makes for a much nicer job. So let me show you some of the ways that people lubricate this ball, and I'll show you the way that I've been doing it that I don't see many people doing that has really changed the way that I use my camper. So looking at this setup that I use on my landscaping trailer, you can see that the wear and tear is on the top here, closest to your tow vehicle, and it's also on the bottom here where the coupler comes in from your trailer. This forms a ball and socket joint like your shoulder. So this wear surface can be lubricated to help this last longer and help you when you're coupling and decoupling your trailer. Now, some folks are using WD-40, and I don't recommend this. The spray kind of gets overused for a lot of stuff. It's a penetrating oil. It works well for cleaning, drilling. It works well breaking bolts and nuts free, but it does not do a good, long-lasting job on an application like this. You end up having to use a ton of it, and it's not going to work as well as some of the other options on the market. Don't mind the snow here, it's starting to get a little cold. Now, the next thing that people do is they put axle grease or bearing grease on this. And I really don't like this method. It does a good job lubricating, but there's several problems. The main one is it makes a mess. You end up with grease on your hands, grease on your pants, grease on your dog. There's grease all over the place. So people cut a tennis ball and put it over the top to help protect themselves when they're not using the camper. There's a much better way. Now, when I used axle grease on mine, the other thing that I notice is when I decouple the trailer and drive down a dirt road, it comes back looking like a candy apple. The gravel and stuff will stick to it, and then you're worse off than if you just didn't lubricate it at all. So possibly the most common solution is one that I've used for a long time. You use white lithium grease and you spray on the two wear points that form on the ball, up here on top and down here on the bottom. This does a really good job. It doesn't make as much of a mess, but I found a solution somebody else tipped me off to that I've been doing recently, and it works a lot better than the white lithium grease. So let's check that out now. So the solution here is going to be using dry graphite spray. I'll put a link in my description to the exact product that I'm using. I don't care what brand you go with, but the formula is important. It's going to deposit a graphite film that dries like a paint on the ball. So the first time you use it, you cover everything. It is going to color the ball black. So I know some of you have these nice chrome toe balls on your vehicle, but anyone with experience knows that that's going to wear off quickly anyway. We all end up with that rusty eyesore on the back of our tow vehicle. So this is another added benefit to this, is that it looks good. You're going to have a nice low friction environment here. very little mess. If you put your hands all over this like I am during the video, you'll get a little graphite on your hands like pencil lead, but it'll wash out of your clothes, it'll wash off your hands a lot easier than the grease and the sprays that we've been using. You're going to be able to see where the wear points are. So add a thin layer for touch-up. You're gonna do that more at first. What happens is that this graphite is actually going to wear itself off onto the other friction surface on your trailer. So the more you use it, the more that graphite builds up on both surfaces. It gets better with time. But even from the first time I use this, I notice a huge advantage. Trailer runs quieter, it couples and decouples easier. I love everything about going with this method, but I don't see many other people doing it. So leave me a comment letting me know the system that you're using, how it works for you, and if you are trying this out, I'd love to hear your feedback as well. So check out my other videos. When you subscribe to the channel, it really helps us out, so I appreciate that, and I will see you guys next time.